Welcome, attractive thinkers, to another episode of Beyond the Break, giving yourself a fighting chance. You know, we have our guests here, my co-host, Tichet Bradshaw, the visual encourager, and we are here to support you today with Life Beyond the Break. But we know we celebrated a major holiday on yesterday, which was Mother's Day. So we just wanted to stop by because Mother's Day is just too much to really celebrate it in one day. And we just want to continue that thing. Is that right, visually?
Yes. Happy Mother's Day, you all.
Yes, I agree. I just want to encourage the mothers around the world, from wherever you are watching and listening to this broadcast. I want you to understand that we celebrate you. You are always celebrated. It doesn't matter, what you're going through right now, or, where your children are right now, or where you are right now, or what's going on in your life right now. We celebrate you as a mother, because just that position alone requires so much recognition, so much honor, so much love, so much appreciation, because there's a lot that comes along with a mother. Would you say, Tichet?
Yes, it is. We always focus on the things the mother gives, but sometimes we forget about the sacrifice of the mother, the things that we have to endure as parents, the things that we sacrifice for our children. And so again, happy Mother's Day to you, all of you ladies. Happy Mother's Day every day, not just yesterday, but every day. Happy Mother's Day. If you're, raising your children, being babies or adults, I want you to know you have done an amazing job with your kids. You are a wonderful mother. You are giving your all to a seed that was once a seed, but now is now considered fruit, and good fruit. You have done well with your kids. And so we thank all the mothers today, and we celebrate you, because you deserve to be celebrated. And I do want to say that every day mothers deserve to be celebrated. There's so many things you don't get to know or see, that your mother does until you once become a mother. Or you don't see all of the push and pull. And sometimes we tend to give our children everything. We want to give our children everything. And a lot of the things that we want to give them, they don't quite understand at this moment. Yeah. But in due time, they will understand. So no mothers out there, know that all of the information you're giving your children and teaching them and trying to tell them, and we say give them home training, you have that home training, all of that are seeds that will sprout in due season. Some may get it early, some may get it later, but they will get it later. Train up a child in the way he should go, and he will not depart from it. So we want to just celebrate you today.
I agree, Tichet. The role of a mother is so incredible. It's so special. I see some attractive thinkers out there. If you see me looking down at my keyboard, I'm managing the Attractive Thinker Facebook group while we're managing this message that we're sharing with you. I want to welcome you all to, again, another episode of Beyond the Break, A Mother's Love. Happy Mother's Day to you. And as Tichet said, that role of a mother, it encompasses so many incredible things. I mean, think about you as a mother and what you do, the sacrifices that you make, and not just the sacrifices, the joys that you share being a mother. I was sharing that with my oldest son just yesterday. He sent me a text message. He says, Happy Mother's Day, but it was this beautiful explosion of all of these fireworks and lights, once I clicked on the message. And I said, oh, this is so incredible. And I texted him back. I said, remember, you were the first one to make me a mother. You were the first one to make me a mother. And
groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking. And that role that we play as mother, it's incredible, because Tichet, we're not just playing the role of a mother, because number one, of course, that title, that position, mother, encompasses every position that anybody could possibly hold on this planet, right? What I mean by that is, we're not just nurturers, we're not just teachers or caregivers or educators, health professionals, counselors, coaches, that healers. That title mother encompasses all of that. We have to
We
literally
wear so
do
many hats.
everything. Yes. What did you say, Tichet?
We wear so many hats.
So many hats. And that's what I want to share with the mothers. I want to celebrate you. You may have heard that before. You know, you've received all of your accolades and appreciation. You hear people posting on your social media pages, we celebrate you, happy Mother's Day. But we are setting aside time. You know, Mother's Day was yesterday, and we still want to celebrate you as a mother and help you to understand the impact that you're making, not just in your children's lives, but in the lives of the people that are around your children. It's because of who you've nurtured and developed and grew your children into that is affecting other people's lives as well. So it's a continual process. Would you agree, Tichet?
It is a continual process, one that you will never forget. It is definitely so amazing to have the privilege of being someone's mother, even if you are adopted, even if you had a surrogate, even if you had children on your own. That love that comes with being a mom, or maybe you have children that you might mentor, or maybe we are really putting in the work that it takes to really enforce the ways that we need to live as an adult in our children. We are teaching them, like you said, we have so many things that we are putting in them, depositing in them. But one of the things that we often sometimes miss is the influence that we have. A lot of times kids tend to watch what we do.
Yeah.
They tend to watch what we do. They admire us. They look at how we do things, and we are walking examples for our kids.
Yes,
We
I
are
agree.
the first examples for our kids, the first teachers, the first examples. We are really influencing them. So even if you have an adopted child, or somebody you took in as a daughter or a son, or somebody you are big brother, you do a big brother or big sister kind of thing, and you're really helping them, we celebrate you too.
Yes.
Because it takes a lot of love and courage and sacrifice, and it takes a lot of amazing things to do what you do. Some of us, we put aside a lot of our desires and wants for the love of our children. We put down, you might have wanted some type of singing career, acting career, build this business, build this, company, but our children, they deserve our 100% effort. They deserve our time and attention. So we put that aside for a second, and then we give it to them. But let me tell you something, mothers, your time is now. Your time is coming. Your time to be you is coming. Your kids need you to be strong. They need you to be happy. They need you to survive. They need you to be the best you. That's the only way to influence them, is by becoming the best you. So make sure that throughout all of this motherhood, you are also taking care of you. You are really depositing good things in yourself, teaching yourself, still raising yourself, because being raised never ends, because we're always evolving. Soon as you think you know who you are, you grow, and then you got to learn yourself all over again. And we teach our kids that self-acceptance is important. Dr. Toni and I always talk about self-acceptance, and where we pick up certain things, and what's okay, what we feel like is okay or not okay concerning us. But we need you to accept yourself, and we need you to know you are doing a wonderful, amazing job as a mom. We know sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. We know that the joy set before us will help us to endure. Last week we talked about giving birth and what it takes to give birth. And we just want you to know that when you were thinking of the joy of your child, that helped you to endure the pain. It goes like that throughout life. The joy set before you will help you to endure.
Yes, I totally agree. You know, Tichet, you said something that stood out to me. You said your time is now. And that's what I want to encourage mothers to do. Don't wait until after you've raised your children and your children are grown to think that now that time is for you. Your time is now while you're raising them, because remember, we are their
Yes,
role models and they're watching us. You know, if they see us put ourselves to the side, they're going to learn that that's what they're supposed to do, or that's how you
you're
do
so
it.
right.
So our children need to see us growing, taking time out for ourselves, loving ourselves, taking a better care of ourselves. I mean, the top-notch expertise care of ourselves, like pampering ourselves, loving ourselves, setting aside that space and time for ourselves. I homeschooled for 11 years. So just like we are right now throughout our world, our children being home with us, I know that a lot, of course, my children are grown now, but I know that there are a lot of mothers out there that have their children at home with them, and you still have to set aside time for you. You know, my children had
Yes,
to see me say, okay, guys, I'm going to leave you to doing your homework. I'm going upstairs. It's my time or whatever. Or, okay, I'm getting in the tub. And they know when I get in the tub, I could be in there for hours, because that's my space. That's my zone. That's my time to reconnect, to be all present with me, to pamper myself, to really, I love water. So they knew that. I'm like, okay, guys, they say, I know, Ma, you're going to take your spa bath. Yes. And that means that if as, and this is what I used to tell them, as long as nobody's bleeding or dying, do not knock on that door. They knew
that's
that
good.
they could take care of themselves. They knew I set food out for them. A lot of them knew how to make their own food. If somebody needed help with the homework, the others were responsible for helping them, because that was my time. You know, even you can have like little signs or signals or messages with your door. If your door is closed, they automatically know this is my time. If your door is cracked,
Yes,
I mean, just a little bit, like, you know, they can knock. But if it's halfway open, you can come in. I might be laying across the bed reading a book, or I might be on the phone or whatever. But there are things that we can do as mothers to set order and boundaries while we're raising our children. You know, when we were out in public, my kid, if I wanted to get my kids' attention, if they walked away, number one, they knew not to just let my hand go and walk away in the store. But if we were as they got older, I let them, you know, walk down the aisle, and if it was a toy or something that they saw, whatever. But instead of me yelling throughout the store, and I know maybe some of you have experienced that before, Shonda, you know, calling them all out in the store, whatever. Instead of doing that, I had a little signal, and it was very subtle, and I was the only one making that sound, and my kids knew that that was their call. Wherever you are, stop what you're doing and come find me. See, there are things that we can do as mothers, little signals, and these are special things that go with our children throughout the rest of their lives, and they remember these beautiful little moments that they've spent with their mother. So while you're home in quarantine and, you know, educating your children while you're still trying to run your business and things like that, there are special moments that you can create with your children that'll last a lifetime. Would you agree, Tisha?
yes, I definitely would agree. See, I got my pen and paper. I'm writing, you know, so if you see me looking down, I'm writing, but it's definitely important to, you know, set aside time for yourself, you know, and making sure that you have that balance, you know. And it's funny how you talked about with the bathtub, and when your door's shut, you know, they, you know, not to come knock on that door. It's funny because we have to set that time aside. My time was
Yes.
nighttime, so I had a certain bedtime for my daughter, and she's 19 now, you know. So I had to set time aside for her. You know, I mean, there's a time I had for her and a time I had for me. So my time was at night when I could just be Tichet. I can just be me. You know, it was mommy time, you know, where I didn't have to, you know, think
Yeah.
about who needs washing clothes, dishes done, food cooked, who needs a band-aid, who needs to be picked up off the floor. You know, that was my time for me, where I set aside time to learn stuff, to develop my business, to really hone in on my gifts, to just have some joy. You know, sometimes I would light a candle and have a good time sitting there, and maybe I'll meditate and pray or read a little bit. You know, we want to get our minds, we want to make sure our minds good and clear. You
Yeah.
know, I always tell my daughter, life is about the clarity of the mind and the strength of your heart. You know, if your mind is clear and your heart is strong, you are having a great life. You know, because when your mind clear, that means your perception is clear. And when your heart's strong, that means you can endure, that means you can handle things. So I just want to tell the moms out there, it is important for you to set aside time, just as important as it is for you to have time with your children, so that you can deposit seeds into them and teach them things, and teaching them how to have balance. But again, we are their first teachers. So in teaching them how to have balance, we have to have balance, you know. So for me, my balance came usually at the end of the night, and I looked forward to it as much as I look forward to my daughter. I've seen the joys of her walking, her talking, her going to school, her coming home. And you know, my daughter was in public school, and it's so crazy because when she would go to school, a lot of moms would be like, yay, and I'm glad she's gone. I would be like, oh, my daughter, I miss her, you know, oh, my daughter. You know, I was one of them, you know, emotional moms that just didn't want to let the child go, you know, but I enjoyed her when she came home. So we would have the time, and the whole time that we would be on the way to school or on the way home, we would have our talks. And she remembered our talks. And I taught her how to listen to music. That's one of the things she told me yesterday is thank you for teaching me how to listen to music. So I said, well, how did I teach you to listen to music? She said, you taught me that whatever I focus on grows. So if I focus on the drum, I'll hear the drum more. If I focus on the voice, I'll hear the voice more. If I focus on the bass, I'll hear the bass more. So I've learned how to tune into different things so that I can hear the entire song. And I said, that's how you do with life. What you focus on grows. If you focus on the negativity, you're going to hear that more. If you focus on the positivity, you're going to hear that more. What you focus on will be, you be more in tune with what you focus on. So you get to choose what you focus on. So yes, I totally agree. It is important to have balance and to teach and to first be an example.
Yes, I totally agree. I love the explanation that you gave, the experience that you shared about, you know, when your daughter went to school, because as raising children, we have to remember that it's not going to be like this always. They do grow up. Sometimes you can get stuck in that mode thinking it's going to be strollers and diaper bags and Pampers all the time. They're growing while we're speaking, while you're listening to this message, they're growing. And, you know, I always had the perspective while I was raising my children that I'm not raising children, I'm raising a woman and 3 men. Yeah, we have to have that perspective, because when you have that perspective, you raise them differently. You're not, oh, cool. Now that has its place, right? But you have to treat them like they are. For example, we have 3 boys and a girl, so you have to raise them like a woman and 3 men, because that's who they're becoming. And when you have that in mind, there are certain things that you will have your children experience, or you will teach them or show them when you look at them as a woman and a man than you would a little baby wrapped in swaddling clothes or a pamper and a bib, right? So you have to, when you look at your daughter and you look at her as raising a woman and not a little girl, then there are things that you teach her. There are things that you show her, you know, and I call it teachable moments. Because we were homeschooling, everything was a teachable moment. Another thing we adopted as a homeschooling family is ever learning, a lifelong learner. So we never stopped learning. So every time a moment presented itself, if they came to us with something that they created, or they came to us with something they were frustrated about, or something that didn't work out, or an assignment that they got really good grades on, or one that they didn't get the grade that they wanted, or something happened in a show they were watching, or the storybook that the teacher recommended didn't have the favorable outcome, or they didn't like the character. Those are all teachable moments. What do I mean by teachable moments? You can take what they bring to you and show them how this is going to happen in life. So what you do about it now is something, a tool that you can use later on in life to handle it when you encounter that again. So while you have your children home, enjoying them understanding that that little girl is not just a little girl, she's growing and becoming a woman. So with that said, it's an opportunity to share the lessons that you did learn and the ones that you wish you had learned while you were becoming a woman. See, this is a beautiful time right now while we have to share with our families in close quarters, because we get to learn about them, and in learning about them we get to learn about ourselves, and then you create and you discover or you capture some very unique treasurable moments, where things
Yes.
are off the grid, and you say, oh wow, we never talked about this before. Or they'll say, oh mom, da 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 da, you said, well, you're right, I never showed you that before. Or how about your son says, I never knew that about you. And then you can go down that path with them and share a story or a segment of your life that they did not know, because our children need to know who we really are. They don't know who you are. Even to this day, I tell my kids, you think you know me, you really don't know me. I remember even telling my siblings, after we became adults, I said, stop looking at our parents as our parents. They are a man and they are a woman. I mean, just like any other woman. And I share that with my kids. I am, the song Tichet, I am every woman. I'm
Yes.
every woman.
Everyone.
That is true. That is true. So don't just look at me as mom. I'm the woman you see on the street carrying the bags or pushing the stroller. I'm the woman that you see in the store shopping, getting food for herself and her children, her family, or preparing for Thanksgiving. I'm the woman you see in church singing and clapping and playing the tambourine. I'm the speaker that you hear with the motivation and the inspiration. I'm every woman. I'm the woman that you see holding her children's hands and skating around the skate rink. I am every woman. So when you look at me like that, you get a different perspective. You don't judge it. You don't think that there were things were misinterpreted, or you have misunderstandings, or the intention was wrong, because you're looking at me as every woman. I'm your friend's mother. I'm your girlfriend's mother. I'm your uncle's aunt. I am every woman. So with that perspective, when you look at your children and you see that there were things that I had my children do that some people would say, why in the world are you getting that kid to do those kinds of things? I said, because you're looking at him as a boy, I'm looking at him as a man. And as a grown man,
That's good.
that same act that you see him doing right now as a boy, you would have a problem with him doing that as a man. See, that's the difference. So you say, well, why you get that girl to do that? You got them 3 boys and all this and that. I said, because I'm not raising that girl to depend on a man. That girl that you're looking at is really a grown woman. And these are teachable moments. And this is the perspective that you have to have when raising men and women. Back to you, Tichet.
Yes, definitely have to have that's a great perspective to have, that you're raising grown men and grown women. You're raising wives, you're raising husbands, you're raising independent
Yes.
women, you're raising strong, courageous, independent men. They're going to grow up and be who they want to be, but it does start from the time that they were a child,
Yeah.
the things that they learn. And one of the things when you was talking about I'm every woman is so funny, because out of the blue this weekend I sung that, and I think that a lot of times while we're going out being a businesswoman, being a mom, being a wife, being a sister, we forget that we are women first.
Yes.
And we forget that woman deserves to be taken care of. We forget that woman deserves to be encouraged and uplifted, that woman deserves to have things taught to her and teach.
Yes.
That we are not done growing up. We're still growing up.
Yeah.
I still, as a mom, I feel like I'm, my daughter is 19 again, but, I feel like I'm 19 again. I'm that 19-year-old woman. And I'm like, okay, I got the whole world ahead of me. Yeah. What am I going to do now? What business journey am I going to start? What desire am I going to fulfill? And, what type of things can I get into? Just like I'm that 19-year-old girl. So that just lets me know that even though we grow up, we're never done growing. And, we are a woman first. And if you have a daughter, a younger sister, an adopted child who is your daughter, we are teaching them that they are woman first by simply nourishing ourselves taking care of ourselves, making sure we're standing strong, being honest, because sometimes I feel like we hide a lot. We feel like we have to. And not only are we hiding the pain, but we're also hiding the lessons. And there's some things you share and some things you don't. You use discernment in that time. But one of the things I did while my daughter was becoming a teen is I started being honest. I started letting her know that there were some things that were not okay. Neglecting myself was not okay. Lifting myself was okay. Allowing myself to learn something new, to explore the world in its fullness, because this world is beautiful and designed perfectly. Rather we make the right decisions all the time, that's a different story. But you know what? Even those bad decisions all leads to the road where all things work together for good. They all work together. So even though you might not have made that right decision, it still leads to a great lesson that can be passed on to your adult woman and your adult son, even now as you're teaching them. But it's so amazing that you painted that perspective, that we are raising grown women and grown men, because it's going to come a time where you have to put some childish things away, and there's going to be some time. But here's the thing though, we put away some childish things, but there's some things as a child we were never supposed to put away. And that was our imagination. We put away we forgot to imagine. I remember being a child, and you know how you play hot lava, and you're walking across the floor and you're pretending that it's lava and you don't step on it, and you tiptoe and you get mad if you make a mistake and fall. You think you actually fell in that lava. Where's that imagination? And allow that imagination to create the life for you. You can have all that you can desire. If you can think it, you can create it. It's possible. All things are possible. So that imagination we were never supposed to put away. Our children had amazing imagination. They'll go out back and do the treasury hunt and scavenger hunt and really be finding some things and some jewels, and they'll make it into whatever they want to make it into. And that's what sometimes as an adult we forget to do. We forget to keep that imagination, keep that fire, keep that desire. We so forget to be a woman first. We forget that it's okay for us to have desires, even as moms. It's okay for us to have dreams and goals and businesses and learn things. It's okay to do those things. It's okay to have out the way that we do things. It's okay, because sometimes we forget that it's okay to be our authentic self. We forget that it's okay to be uniquely created. We forget that, and we think we have to fall in line with everybody else. Dr. Toni, you have homeschooled your kids. I had my child in public school, and we raised our children differently, but when we look at our kids, they have a lot of similarities when it comes to their teaching and their I hate the word home training, so if you have a better word, feel free. But they have great minds. I'm so excited to see the mind of my daughter and to see how she learned some things at a young age, and things that I knew when I was her age. I was not listening. I was not into. My mother tried to tell me stuff. I just wasn't listening, but when I became an adult and started raising my child, I started listening. So that is good perspective. We're raising young men. We're raising adult men. We're raising adult women, but we are women first.
Yes, I totally agree. I love what you talked about, Tichet, when it comes down to the imagination and raising our children and the things that you now see the fruit. This is what I want to share with mothers, is that it wasn't so much, I'm gonna be honest with you, our kids excelled in school in so many different ways and ended up in leadership positions in so many different ways. But it wasn't the math that made them successful. It wasn't the grade that they got in English that made them successful. It wasn't how they performed in arithmetic or, the subjects, social studies and science and things like that, that made them successful in life. It was what they got at home. And I know, Tichet, you referenced it and you called it home training, but that's what we call it. I mean, right now in our country, we have the federal government telling us to wash our hands. And one of my kids said to me, they were like, Mom, that's home training. You got that at home. Like, those are things you teach a child. Like, did your mom teach you to wash your hands or cover your mouth, when you cough or sneeze or things like that? It's the things that we teach our children that weren't related to the subjects that they got in school that are the lasting things, like, how to be a great communicator, like how to follow your heart, like you mentioned, you're using your imagination, like how to solve a problem, and how to see that you have everything to solve the problem, and not focusing on thinking that it's what you don't have that will solve that problem. Because we let what we don't have a lot of times stop us from moving forward in our lives, or from accomplishing the things that we want, because we really have a strong belief that it has to be what I don't have that is stopping me from moving forward. But when you teach your children that they are enough, that they're more than enough, that they are great, that they're worthy, and they deserve the best, they will go within themselves and figure it out, no matter what they face in life. Now, as a parent, we want to prepare our children for life, but I promise you, they're going to encounter some things that we just could not prepare them for. And that's their journey and that's their path. But it's what we put in them that will help them get through that. And what are we putting in our children? Integrity, honesty, trust, belief in themselves, faith, commitment, be determined. I teach my sons, sometimes they would start something, and then the fuel runs out, or the excitement or the passion or the drive, and they kind of iffy. I said, let me share something with you. You started it, now you want to finish it. You'll never know what's at the end of it until you finish the thing. You'll never know what you're going to encounter until you finish. Don't get in the habit of starting things and walking away from it. Finish it. My son says to me, I don't know if it's a quote or not, but it might be a quote, because he showed it to me one time. He says, and I'm paraphrasing, commitment is sticking to what you said you're going to do long after the passion or the drive or the energy in which you said it is gone, the feeling. Let me say it again. Commitment is doing what you said you're going to do long after the feeling in which you decided to do it is long gone. That's commitment, because how many of us know, have come to know in our lives that feelings change, and you can't make decisions based on your feelings because you feel this way right now. I guarantee you 10 minutes from now, maybe even 5 minutes from now, you're going to feel another way. So if you're making decisions like that, then you're just all over the place, and you're not steadying your walk. You're not consistent in one area. You're not following through to see things to the end. You never get to the fruit. You always at the planting stage and the weeding stage and the grooming stage, but you never get to see the fruit from the decisions that you make. You never get to the results because you keep checking out, you keep stopping. And every time we stop, Tichet, even as mothers, pouring and nurturing into our children, because our children are the plants that we're watering and nurturing and pruning and grooming for life, so that we can get to the place when they become adults, you can see the fruit. But if we keep looking at our kids and nurturing them, and then when we see them, do something that doesn't align with the fruit of the sacrifice and the work that you put into your child and the grooming and nurturing, if we just keep letting it go and say, well, I'm just going to let it go, I'll turn to this kid, or I'll let them go and I'll turn to that kid, or I'll let them, you're never going to see the fruit. In order to see fruit, there has to be consistency, there has to be faith. You have to have faith that you're going to see some fruit, that they're going to produce fruit someday, because being a parent is a delayed reward. You don't plant and nurture and water and then see fruit. Sometimes you plant and nurture and water and you don't see fruit for 10 or 15 years. That's what I'm saying. That's why we celebrate you today as mothers, because it takes a lot of courage and confidence to keep pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring into your children and not seeing the fruit of the labor that you're putting forth. But that's where the faith comes in at, because faith is not just I believe, I believe, I believe. Faith is also a confident knowing. I know that no matter what this looks like, that I'm going to see some fruit behind the labor that I put into this thing, my sacrifice that I put into this thing, the investment that I put into this child. I know I'm going to see fruit. So having a mother see raising their children with this perspective is very rewarding. You can relax, you can have some peace in knowing that, in parenting, the rewards aren't immediate. Now here's the thing, I'm telling you, it's beautiful, it's fantastic and amazing and phenomenal when you can see the rewards while you're raising your children. That's God blessing you with a little glimpse, giving you a little encouragement, inspiring you a little bit, wiping that tear from your eye, just to give you an example, an idea that this child is going to be okay. Sometimes you don't
Yes.
see the fruit right away, but then when that fruit does come, and you know that it's God bringing that fruit to you, because that child isn't even old enough to understand how to produce the kind of fruit, or to say, have you ever heard your child just walk up on you and say something, and you knew it was God saying it to you? You knew it didn't come from that child. It came through that child, but it did not come from that child. It came through them directly to you. That was God encouraging you and giving you the courage and confidence that you needed to hold on, to stay in that lane, to secure and anchor your feet, and don't let go. Don't give up. Have you ever had an experience like that, Tichet?
I have my daughter, who's very intuitive. She would speak sometimes, and I know that that was God's way of giving me a message. And one of the things I think at this time I was going through something at the time, and she told me, she said, Mom, your time is coming. Just hold on. It's going to be okay. This is only temporary, because sometimes when we go through stuff, we think it's permanent. We think that we are going to be in this forever. We think that this is the only thing to life, and so we do give up. We do give up when we think this is the only way of life. But like you said, we see it through until we manifest the fruit. We see it through until we actually see. You don't give up when you just put the dirt in the ground and you come out the next day. Where I thought the seed was going to sprout by now. No, sometimes the seed sprouts down first before it goes up. And you might not see that process. But you do have to see it through. Now, there's a time and place where you do have to walk away from things, but you have to have the discernment and the gift of knowing when to do so. But giving up too soon on your dreams, that's why we are here, to prevent you from giving up too soon on yourself and on your dream. You have to know the time and season that you're in. When you're planting something, even in your kids, you're planting something, you have to know that there will come a harvest season. There will come a time, and you don't give up. You just, you have the patience, and you pour in as much as you can. You water that seed as much as you can, and just know that the process of it you'll get to see the fruit of it. And I think one of the things that was also said to me is, why are you trying to be a fruit on someone else's tree when you have your own tree full of fruit? And we have to know that we have our own tree full of fruit. We are our own fruit. We have so much to give and so much to offer as women, even to our children, but to the entire world. And that's why Dr. Toni and I are here, so that we can share some of the fruit that we have given, and hope that you will take a lot of the things that we've learned, the lessons that we were taught, and be able to maybe make them applicable to your life, and not give up on yourself, not be so hard on yourself, standing confident. I like what you said about a confident knowing is faith. Faith is a confident knowing. I like that, because it's a knowing that you don't have any questions on. You know it. Nobody can convince you anything other than that. You know this. You don't have to talk yourself into and out of stuff when you know something. When you know that that's your thing, that is your business, that is your child, nobody can talk you out of knowing that. And so you are willing to endure all that comes with it, with that knowing. You're willing to endure all the good and the bad that comes with you're knowing that that is yours. So if you know that this is your fruit, and you know this is your child, you know this is your business, because we give birth to many things as women. We have that power, that superpower of giving birth to many things. When you have that knowing that that's yours, you don't give up on it. You stand firm, you stand tall, and you walk that walk, and you keep going, until you manifest that fruit. And then you don't stop there, because when that fruit manifests, the seed comes from that too. You keep replanting. The process starts over. Keep going and going. And then the next time around when you're planting that seed, you know what to expect. Just like when we have our children, you had the first one, you knew it this. You don't know what to expect. The second time, you know what to expect, but that child has a difference. That child has their uniqueness. So you know what to expect, but you're still seeing different types of fruit. There's different apples on one tree, and you don't stop there. So the process keeps going and going and going. Again, I always say we're ever evolving. We're always going. Just when you think you know yourself, you got to learn yourself some more. You don't give up on what you have, a confident knowing, and you don't give up on it. You keep going. And that's what I want to encourage the mothers out there to keep going, keep planting those seeds, keep watering those seeds, keep tending to it, keep nurturing, but also tend to yourself, nurture yourself, water yourself, grow on yourself. It is okay to love you. It is okay to love your child. It is okay.
Yes, I totally agree. You said we as mothers, we give birth to many things. And when we're finished giving birth to children, it's time to birth dreams. Of course, we should be birthing dreams along the way. But now you have all that free time to really give your dream all of that nurturing and attention that you gave your children. So it's never over. Because we're nurturers, we're caregivers, we're life givers. We always give life to things. We bring life to things. So I just want to encourage and inspire mothers. Another thing you said that made me think about, sometimes we, in raising our children, because we're not perfect, we may have desired to do things a different way, or may have desired to say this a different way, or do, you're going to always find something that you wish you could have did a little bit better. But this is what I want to share to encourage mothers. When you've done it from your heart, that's the absolute best that you can do. Any decision that you make from your heart is the best decision. And even though it doesn't turn out, or you don't see the result that you're looking for, it will either be God purpose or God use. It will not be wasted. It will always be something that somebody can use. It will always be something that you can get from it, and that your children can learn from it and get from it as well. So we can't, because we hold such a great position as mother, we can't hold ourselves to this standard of perfection that mother means you're supposed to do everything right. It does not. Sometimes mother means you're just a guide, or just somebody to take them, hold their hand just a little way along the path, and then you let it go. Sometimes mother means you pray them through things, and then you recognize. See, being a mother also gives you the ability to recognize when you've gone as far as you can go. You've prayed for them. Now you're old. Your child is old enough to pray for themselves. Now that your child is old enough, when they see something going on in your life, they can pray for you. You see what I'm saying? So your role as mother is huge, and we can't hold ourselves to a standard of perfection, because there's only one that I know that's perfect, and that's God. He didn't intend for us to be everything. He just intended for us to be something to these wonderful children that He gave us to nurture and grow in this world, so that they can be fit for His use. That's the goal right there. Can God use what I gave birth to? Can God use what I nurtured? Can God use what I created? Can God use what He started in me, what I gave birth to, what I pushed out into the world, what He entrusted in with me to handle, to nurture, to shape, to show, to tell that child about God, to introduce that child to the Savior, to the Almighty One, to their number one source? Can God use what He gave, what He entrusted me to nurture and grow? So that's what we should be looking at as mothers. And to all of the mothers around the world, we want to say Happy Mother's Day. I got a call from my son who's in the military. This is Chris. Can you see that? That's Chris. So he called me yesterday and said Happy Mother's Day. As you can see, this beautiful vase of flowers right here. My daughter brought these by on the other day, the day before Mother's Day. And that's a nice little shot right there. So I appreciate that. God gave us 4 children, and they are incredibly, fit for the master's use. They're not perfect, but God can use them. They're not perfect, but they're successful in their own right. They're not perfect. And if you watch some of the Attractive Thinker videos, you've heard me say so many times, my main goal was that I wanted my kids to know how to be healthy, how to take care of their own bodies. And look at the time that we're living in right now. They know how to, it is necessary for us to know how to take care of ourselves, take responsibility for our own health, and not place our health in the hands of other people, because our body contains our life that God gave us to experience this journey down here, and we are responsible for that. Nobody knows what's really going on in our bodies and how to take care of and nurture it and what it needs like we do. But see, you got to trust yourself in order to get to that place where you say, I know what's best for me. I know how I feel. I remember I was in labor with my 3rd son, and the doctor says, oh, this is your 3rd baby. Oh, it's going to be a while. I said, no, doc, this baby's coming out of here today. This baby is coming out of here today. I done been around this rodeo. I know what my body does when it's time to give birth. Let's do this. This baby is, and sure enough, the baby came that particular day in a short amount of time, right after we had that conversation. So another thing I wanted my children to know was about mindset, how to manage your own mind. Don't let thoughts run rampant in your head. Don't think you are your thoughts. You get to choose your thoughts. Just like you swipe through that phone and you say, oh, I want to watch this, I don't want to watch it, or I don't want to, I want to see this, or I don't want to see that. You get to choose your thoughts. I want to think that, oh, I don't want to think that. Oh, that's a good thought. I can adopt that. That'll help me get results. You get to choose. So I wanted them to know how to manage their mind so that their mind wouldn't take control over them and get the best of them throughout their lives. And you go throughout your entire life never living the life that you really wanted to live because you thought your mind was in control, but you're in control. And that's what I want to share with the Attractive Thinkers. So many things, as a mother, that I wanted to make sure my children knew before they stepped out into the world. But now, if you still are raising children, you can take what Tichet and I are sharing with you today and now apply that to enrich your motherhood experience, to enrich your parenting experience, to really pour into and invest in your children, to set aside that time, to see them in a different light. Parenting is an awesome job, and we have to see it as such in order to get the rewards from it. So, Tichet, I know that you had a fantastic and amazing Mother's Day yesterday with your daughter. Is there anything you want to share with us about that experience?
Yes, my daughter drew me a picture, but on the back of the picture, she also wrote me a letter, and it's like in this big card, and
Oh,
she drew
wow.
pictures of me and things like that. But in the card, it says, this is what it says. This is where I see fruit, right? It says, dear Mom, thank you for everything. Thank you for keeping me healthy. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for talking to me. And I want you mothers to listen too, because this is for you as well. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for talking to me. Thank you for taking care of me. Thank you for sometimes playing the big sister role. Thank you for telling me words of encouragement. Thank you for feeding me with your amazing cooking. Thank you for teaching me how to be myself, how to accept myself. Thank you for doing my hair. Thank you for teaching me how to properly listen to music. Thank you for being my superhero. Thank you for making me happy. Thank you for teaching me the good and the bad. Thank you for being the bad cop while there's the good cop. Thank you for all the amazing memories. Thank you for being alive. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being the best mom in the world. Thank you for loving me unconditionally. I love you, Mom. Who would think a daughter would thank you for being a bad cop? But she understands. She understands. And when I say bad cop, it doesn't mean mean. It means that I was more into making sure she knew what was necessary and not just to be, giving into everything she says. She understands that if I said no to this, it was because it was for your own good. So I learned through my relationship with my daughter that that I look at deeply how my relationship with God is when you love somebody unconditionally, and what it's like to be loved unconditionally. That there's nothing in the world my daughter can do to make me love her any less. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm always going to be here. I'm always going to be a mom. And I can imagine that's how God feels about us, is no matter what we do, he's going, nothing can separate us from the love of God.
Mm-hmm.
And so I also, you know, got some flowers and a label maker because I'm such an organizer. So I was really happy and excited that I got to share that time and space with them, and, you know, really enjoy and have, I took a moment to have gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, and I've learned to enjoy the moments that are given to me. If this quarantine has taught me anything, it will be that time, that the time we have, which I believe time is moments set aside for a life experience. Time, moments set aside for a life experience. So the time that we have is precious, and we get to choose how we experience that time. We get to choose, you know, some things come up unexpectedly, yes, but for the most part, we get to choose how we process the energy, how we process the things that happen, how we process all the information that's given to us on a constant basis. We get to choose that, and choose how we put that energy out. So Dr. Toni and I together are taking the positive energy that we have every Monday morning and giving it out to you as fruit, so that we know that you know you are appreciated,
Yes.
and that you are loved, and that, you know, you are supported, and that it is okay. More than anything, it is okay, and it's going to be okay. But things take time. Not to be too hard on yourself.
Yes.
They do take time. Having patience, having faith, walking in your knowing, not giving up on yourself.
Yeah.
You know, really taking the time to be you, to encourage yourself, lift yourself, teach yourself, as we have said throughout this broadcast. And, you know, we thank you guys and celebrate you guys so much for being here with us today. And I want you to know that when we break away from beyond the break, and you're living life beyond the break, go out there, hug your children, appreciate your children, but hug yourself, love yourself, give yourself a pat on the back. You mothers have done a wonderful job. Doing a wonderful job, like Dr. Toni Hatton says, did not mean that you had to do everything perfectly. We all make mistakes. We really do. But I tell my daughter that it's not about the mistakes you made. It's how you clean it up that makes the biggest difference. So when you make a mistake, go out there, mess up. It's okay, because that's how you learn. But how you clean it up is the biggest lesson that we all can have. So nowhere in the world am I teaching her how to be this perfect child. You know, I tell her to embrace her uniqueness, embrace who she is, have some self-acceptance, accept yourself. If you're not like everybody else, that's okay. That's okay. Be you. Be all you can be in this world. Be you. So go out there and, you know, really explore, really, you know, have desires, fulfill them, go after fulfillment. You know, we all deserve that. So as mothers, we all celebrate you today. And we just thank you so much. We appreciate you. Back to you, Dr. Toni.
Awesome. That was so beautiful. Your daughter wrote that so beautifully. I mean, she spelled it out, didn't she? That's
Yes.
awesome. Those are things that we treasure. And I saw how big that was. I was like, wow, that's something that I keep with my little stack of things. And when they come over, you know, with when they're in their adulthood and their children and things, you can pull out these little things. It says, oh, mommy did that, or oh, daddy did that. You know, and even in times where you're sitting by yourself and you just go through little things, you know, and those memories, you know, that come up, and, you know, how your children feel today about themselves and about others and about you and their childhood and those experiences. And it all works together. You know, it all works together. It all creates such a beautiful moment. Like you said, moments set aside for a life experience. I got a card from one of my sons. It says, always my mom always loved. Can you see that? Isn't that beautiful? Always my mom.
Yes.
Always
Oh, that's so beautiful. That is so beautiful.
Thank you. So it says, the same warmth that was there for me when I was little is there for me now. The same belief. This is what I want to share with you, mother, that's listening to this message. Let me start again. The same warmth that was there for me when I was little is there for me now. The same belief in me when I was younger means just as much as it ever did. I think of you as not only my mom, but my lifelong friend, the one who's always in my corner and on my side, the one the one I'm always going to need and love. Happy Mother's Day. Now that came from one of my,
Oh,
I'm like, where did you find a card that would say something like that? So
yes.
another card that I got, and this one says, Mom, where there was no path, you cleared one, made it smooth, and lit my way with love and constant support. And this is what the cover, the front of the card looks like. So when I open it, this is what I share with you, Mother. With hard work and sacrifice, like Tichet and I talked about, you've made possible every goal I've reached and every happiness I cherish most. Thank you. No, there's no way I could ever thank you enough for love like that. All I can say is I love you so very much too. Happy Mother's Day. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Can you believe
That is awesome.
those are some
That is
amazing
awesome.
cards. Thank you, Tisha. And that's what I want to share with all of the mothers around the world. You're going to get that fruit that you're looking for. Just don't stop sowing and investing and nurturing and loving and caring for your children. And don't stop taking care of you in the process. It works together. You can't just take care of your kids and not take care of you, or take care of you and not take care of your kids. You got to do it all together. And guess what? You're strong enough to do it. We did it.
Yes.
You can do it. We all can do it because you are a mother. So I want to end this episode of Beyond the Break, A Mother's Love. Thank you so much, Tichet, for joining us, for sharing your expertise as the visual encourager. Thank you for sharing the excerpts that your beautiful, successful daughter shared with you. And I know you enjoyed that fruit because I felt that fruit. Tell your daughter, I took some of that fruit for myself.
Yes, same to your children.
Yes, I felt that fruit when she was reading that, when you were reading that. And I was like, that is so incredible. So stay tuned next Monday, 10 a.m. Now, we're not 10 a.m. on the dot yet because we're still working out this technology. Every time I turn around, there's a new button. But stick with us because this message, along with so many others, is really going to make a difference in your life when you're living life beyond the break. Dr. Toni Hatton and
Tichet Bradshaw, visual encourager.
Awesome. We look forward
Much.
to seeing you next Monday at 10 a.m. Tichet, tell our audience how they can get in touch with you.
You can find me at www.visualencouragement.com. That's www.visualencouragement.com, a site designed to have encouragement, enlightenment, and empowered wisdom, love, and perseverance using visualizations in the form of metaphorical expression. You can go to the contact form and put your information in there, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Awesome. And you can find out more about the Attractive Thinker movement and book your free coaching session at www.theattractivethinker.guru. That's GURU, theattractivethinker.guru. When you get to the page, scroll down to the bottom and book your session at a convenient time and date for you, because you want that clarity, you want that wholeness, you want those next steps. You want to make sure you're giving birth to your dreams as well. Remember, Attractive Thinker, it is not what you're going through, it's how you're viewing it. Think attractively, and we'll see you soon. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.